What's up, YouTube? If you're watching this video, you're probably interested in becoming a CRNA, and you're in the perfect place because I'm going to be walking you through my journey on how I got accepted into CRNA school. I'm going to be going through my stats, so my GPA, my ICU experience, and everything else it took in order to get accepted into CRNA school. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the process, don't worry. I was too, but hopefully by the end of this video, you're a little bit more confident in what you need to do in order to be accepted. So you're probably wondering, who am I? Well, my name's Trey. I am a current ICU nurse and I've been accepted into CRNA school. I start school in May, which is about a month or so from now, and I'm super excited. I'm hoping to bring you guys along that journey with me and just show you all the things that it takes to get into CRNA school and what happens while you're in it. So if you're interested in any of that, I'm going to drop something down here for you guys to like and subscribe to the channel. It should be a good time. So let's jump right into it. I realized that I wanted to be a CRNA in nursing school. I was super lucky to have some really good instructors who, when I told them that I wanted to be a CRNA, they connected me with some other CRNAs and I was allowed to shadow them and learn a whole bunch about the profession. The seat was first planted in my OB rotations. I was able to go stand with anesthesia behind the bed during a C-section, and I loved it. I saw all the meds that they were getting prepared. I saw just the knowledge that they had about the surgery that was going on and all the medications that they were giving. And it was like love at first sight for me. I knew that's what I wanted to do. I went back home after that clinical experience and started doing some serious research into everything that I would need to do in order to get to my goals. Honestly, as I was scrolling through online and I was seeing the high GPAs, the low acceptance rates for schools, it felt really out of reach. I didn't know if I'd be able to do it. I wasn't the best student. I was pretty average. So if you're feeling like it's out of your reach, it's definitely not. I just had to make the decision that I was going to do everything I could to get to where I want to go. And obviously it's paid off for me now. So I finished my BSN in 2022 and started in my first ICU job in January of 2023. During that first year, I was just focused on getting through orientation and then getting as much clinical experience as I could. In addition to that, during that first year, I retook 2 classes, Anatomy and Physiology 1 and 2, because those were the 2 science classes that I did the least well in back when I was in school during my undergrad. I think I had B minuses in both of those classes. In order to be competitive, I knew I needed to do a bit better, so I retook those classes. That took me from 2023 to 2024 about. Shortly after that, I started studying for my CCRN. That's the critical care certification exam. I passed to that probably a couple months into 2024. And immediately after that, I started looking at what schools I wanted to apply to. I had a list of about 5 or 6 that I wanted to apply to. And the school that I got accepted to was actually the first school that's application opened. So I submitted that application and kind of waited around, got my letters of recommendation submitted, and I kind of just waited to hear back from them because none of the other schools' applications had opened yet. In about May of 2024 is when I found out that I got an interview. I was super excited because it was my first application and I really didn't think I was going to be able to get to the interview stage, but it was an amazing feeling. So that was in May. I did a whole bunch of interview prep and I ended up going to the interview. Felt semi-confident about it. I'll probably either make another video talking about the interview process that I went through, or I might drop it later in this video. Not too sure yet, but it was an amazing experience. I found out that I got accepted in August of 2024. Another amazing experience. I'm pretty sure I jumped up and down all in my apartment, called everybody. So that was super cool as well. And now it is April of 2025 and I'm about a month out from starting my program. All right, I know the part of this video that you guys are probably waiting for the most is what were my stats. I'd start off by saying everybody's stats are different that get accepted. You'll see 4.0s, you'll see 3.1s. So don't judge yourself based on what your GPA is right now, or compare yourself exactly to me or anybody else on the internet. Everybody looks different. Schools look at a holistic application. They want to see your GPA, not only your GPA, but also everything else you're involved in, everything else you're passionate in, and why you want to be a CRNA. So we'll start with that. But my GPA was a 3.54. Definitely not the best. My science GPA was around a 3.3. That was before I retook that anatomy and physiology class. I'm not sure exactly what that bumped my GPA up to, but it probably wasn't that much. So that right there shows you with my mediocre GPA that you guys still can get into school with a subpar GPA that's not the 4.0s you guys are seeing all on the internet. One thing that I do think helped me with my mediocre GPA was the fact that my GPA trended up over the course of my 4 years in undergrad. I think that's something they look at. There's also some schools that look at just your last 60 credits. So that's something that you guys should keep in mind as well. The one other thing is I played football during my undergrad as well. So I can't say for sure, but I feel like there's a good chance that if I wouldn't have played football, that my GPA would have been higher. And I think that the admissions committee took that into consideration as well. So if you guys have extracurriculars that you guys do, definitely put those on your applications as well, because they might help you out, especially if you have a lower to mid-tier GPA. ICU experience is another bigger part of the application. I worked in the CCU for 2 years. It wasn't a level 1 trauma center, but I did see very high acuity patients. I got to take care of balloon pumps, ECMOs, CRRTs. So a lot of the patients I took care of were really, really sick. And that brings me to a point that I think is important. A lot of people ask, what ICU do I need to work in order to get accepted to school? I'd say it really doesn't matter as long as it's an adult ICU. If you're a PICU or a NICU, some schools don't accept that. But if you're working in an adult ICU and you see sick patients, that's what matters. So get yourself into an ICU that has a good culture, that you're going to learn a whole bunch, and that sees sick patients. It doesn't matter if it's a AICU, if it's a MICU, if it's a CCU, or if it's a CVICU. I think you still have a good chance of getting accepted. There are also certification requirements in order to get into school. I have my ACLS, obviously, because every ICU nurse needs to have it. I have my PALS, and I have my CCRN. The PALS certification, you may not need it to get accepted into school, but you'll definitely need it once you get into school. So I made sure to get that out of the way just to kind of make me a stronger applicant and to show that I was serious about getting into the program that I was admitted to. The CCRN is the cardiac, or not the cardiac, it's the critical care certification. That's another big exam. A lot of schools require it, and I think everybody should take it, even if your school doesn't explicitly say that they require it, because getting admitted is so competitive, and the schools want to make sure that you have that knowledge that you need. So whether it's a requirement or not, I definitely suggest you guys taking the CCRN. Shadowing wise, I shadowed for about 25 hours total. My school required a shadowing experience of at least 8 hours. Some of the schools you're interested in will require shadowing, some won't. But it's another thing that I really recommend is that you do a shadow experience. Why would you go through all of the work and all of the stress of getting into CRNA school just to find out you really don't want to do it? It also helps you develop your why anesthesia. I talked about it a little bit earlier. When I shadowed is when I knew that I wanted to be a CRNA. It's when I saw everything that goes on, and it's when I became sure that that's the route that I was going to go on. So shadowing is a big thing. Different schools require different amounts. Like I said, I had 25 hours. I went a little bit above and beyond, but I definitely recommend at least 8 to 12 hours of shadowing before you apply. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but volunteering and extracurriculars are also big. Like I said, I played 4 years of collegiate football. I think that was definitely a strength of my application. I know everybody doesn't play athletics in college, but I definitely would suggest you guys getting into clubs or something of that sort that you're passionate about, that you can put on your application and show that you're more than just a student, that you're interested in other things. Because the cohorts, it's a group of 20 people. They want people who are likable. They want people who can relate. It's great to just be a super smart kid. But if you're not going to fit into the cohort, if you're not interested in things outside of school, I think that a lot of programs think that you will struggle. So make sure you guys get out there and do your extracurriculars. So here's some advice for you guys as you go throughout your individual journeys. First, I know it feels intimidating, but this is definitely attainable. As long as you're serious about being a CRNA and this is what you want to do, you'll just have to work hard, but it'll definitely happen. I'd also say start early. Make a plan early as possible. List the schools that you want to go to, list their requirements, and start checking those off. Find yourselves an ICU that has a high acuity and that you'll learn a lot. Schools, like I said earlier, want to see that you're Critical thinking is high, and the best way to do that is to take care of sick patients. GPA wise, I'd say don't stress too much about the GPA you have. If it's lower, look at retaking some classes. If it's on the higher end, then you're all set. Make sure you guys shadow. If you haven't shadowed yet, go make sure you want to be a CRNA. Don't just look at the pay that they have. Make sure you get into the OR, see what CRNAs do, and see if it's something that interests you. And lastly, apply. Once you check off all the requirements you need to apply, do it. A lot of people wait years and years and years, and then they end up not becoming a CRNA at all just because they let too much time go by. Once you get those requirements taken care of, trust yourself, even if you're not 100% sure. I wasn't, but I still was able to get accepted. Thanks for watching, guys. I know this video was a little bit on the longer side, but if you stuck it out, I really appreciate it. Like I said, I'm super excited to guys have you here. I'm super excited to build a community. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to comment what you guys are interested in and what you guys want to see. And I'm excited to get this journey started. I'll be posting a lot more videos, so I'll see you guys next time.